Ah, it's the love Rabbi and Aleeza. Rabbi, what's the question of the day?
Okay, I just read this question. This is a really tough one.
Yeah.
This is from a listener named Shoshana. She says, Dear Rabbi and Aleeza, I've been single for 10 years so far, and I really want to get married and have children. Why is God making it so difficult for me to get married?
It's heavy. So God isn't only making it difficult for you. He really does it to every one of us. And why? Well, you're the rabbi, so I get to throw that back to you. Hey, Rabbi. Why is God making it so difficult for us to find our partner? And what's the benefit of this challenge? Because I'm sure if there's a challenge, there's got to be a reason that we have this challenge.
Right. I would say, in general, why are you blaming God for all your problems? But the Talmud says this is exactly what God has been doing since creation. After creating the world, the Talmud says that since then, God has been making matches. So this really is God's work. And we always say as matchmakers that we're doing God's work.
Yeah.
So why is it so difficult? Well, if it was so easy, if you were born with a page that came with you in the sack and said, this is the person you're going to marry, then that would be, it seems wrong almost.
Well, I think it takes away everybody's free will.
Yes.
But this is where it gets a little tricky. And again, I'm so glad I have a rabbi here with me to ask. So how does free will then interact with, well, it's divine, right? This is divinely inspired who you're going to marry. It's decreed. It is, it's called out. You're supposed to marry so-and-so, right? So if you already told me I'm supposed to marry so-and-so, I don't know who he is. I got to go play Where's Waldo to find him. But okay, fine. Why is it taking so long? Why do I have to wait so long? Isn't there like, okay, you got to marry so-and-so and by 30, don't worry. If you haven't found him before, on or before 30, I'm going to introduce you. Why don't we have a plan like that in place? Doesn't that sound like a good one? That's like a movie, actually.
Like, you know what, I'll give you free choice, but
until 30.
Yeah.
So Julia Roberts, was it My Best Friend's Wedding? I don't know which movie, but one of those movies many moons ago, I watched it. And she had this plan. She's like, if I'm not married by 30 and you're not married by 30, we're getting married at 30. And he was like, and she's like, no, that's the plan. This is what we're going to do. And I thought about that when I was dating. I was thinking, man, I'm going to find my soulmate, this person that completes me, my other half. Yeah, that good luck with that, because that sounds really easy. So maybe if I don't find my person, maybe I'll do like Julia Roberts. I'll just ask one of my best guy friends to get married. And then I was like, who's my best guy friend? Like, who would I even ask? I was trying to rack my brain about who I was going to ask.
A great Israeli film where this woman decides that she's going to make a wedding date.
I saw that one. The Wedding Plan?
The Wedding Plan.
Oh,
The Wedding Plan. She makes a date for the wedding, and she's like, no matter what, I'm going to bring somebody to the chuppah with me.
Right? And she doesn't just make a plan. She pays for the hall and puts down a down payment and does a wedding tasting. And they're like, who's the chatan? And she's like, you'll find out soon enough. And so will I.
It's a very cute story. But there's actually something within Judaism about that, about hishtadlut, about actually making the plan, about actually making the kli, saying this is going to be, what I'm going to do. And almost, I would say, in a strange way, testing God.
Right.
Because it is God's work.
Right.
And just saying, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do whatever.
You told me I'm getting married. I know you divinely decreed who's going to be my soulmate. So you know who it is. I don't. So I'm getting married on this date. You bring him just bring him along. Yeah.
I want to back up with the question that you had before about free choice, because I think it's really important.
Yeah.
In the filmmaking process, the most important thing that a screenwriter has to know is POV, point of view. Whose point of view is the film going to be? Who is going to, when you're looking at this film, through whose lens are you looking at this film? Because the entire film will be written around the lens of the viewer. So who are we? So often we confuse our lens with God's lens. So yes, the difference between God's lens and our lens is time and space. We don't know anything beyond time and space. That's part of the limitations of being in this world. And I think it's so important that we know what our limitations are. In God's world, it's all unlimited. God knows the past, the present, and the future. So God will know who your soulmate is and all that stuff, because that's God's lens. That's God's POV. But our POV is time and space. So we have to allow the process of time. So both free choice can happen in both ways because we have different perspectives. Because we have this time and space and this kind of length of time, free choice is real for us.
This part makes my brain hurt. So this part is real for us.
But God still knows what's going to happen.
Because God, but if it's, see, this is where it makes my brain hurt. And I'm so happy if you want to correct it and make my brain feel better. If it's divinely inspired, Aleeza, you're going to marry Gershon, right? And I go into the world and I'm looking, and I can't find anybody. And what happens if I decide I'm going to marry Josh instead of Gershon? But I'm supposed to marry Gershon. Will I marry Gershon or will I marry Josh?
If you decide to marry Josh, you marry Josh.
But it's not divinely decreed or inspired or whatever. Like God knows that I'm marrying Gershon. So how does that play out?
Well, Aleeza once told me that at your chuppah is when the person becomes your soulmate.
It's true. So then if I'm supposed to marry Gershon, right, but I marry Josh, then maybe I won't stay married to Josh for whatever reason, and then I probably would marry Gershon.
Or but maybe you will stay married to Josh because Josh is your soulmate.
But what if then I could also be divinely decreed to marry him.
Well, that's the problem.
How many people am I? No, I'm going to interrupt you. I'm so sorry. How many people am I divinely decreed to marry?
I think that there's a lot of different people who could be your soulmate. There has to be. There can't be just one. And I think that's one of the issues that a lot of people have. Like, I'll present somebody as a matchmaker to somebody like, that's my person?
Well, you're like, they're one of a few. That could be. They're one of a few.
He was supposed to be tall, dark, and handsome, and this guy is Jewish.
And short. But don't worry, he's a doctor. It's all good.
Exactly.
Oh.
So yes. There could be somebody out there for you, and it doesn't have to be one particular person. I'm sure if you thought about it, there are many people in the world who could possibly fit the bill in different ways for you.
So let's take it back. Why is this so hard? Why is it? Obviously, it is hard. Many or most people experience dating and finding your life partner as a difficult thing. Some people you meet on the first date and the first time, yay, good for you. It's a very small percentage of the population, more than a majority. Like almost everybody really feels that this is a difficult process. So why does it happen? I hope
so. But it should be difficult.
Why?
Because we all know what happens when you give a kid a gift. They use it for 2 seconds. This has got to last a lifetime.
So you got to work for it. And if you work
for it, you got to work with it. I want that the most difficult things, the best things in my life should be the most difficult. Why did everyone decide? What year did we decide that everything in life has to be easy? I don't know who said that, because that is a mistake. And somebody coddled us and said, "Don't worry, Bubble, your life's going to be easy." No, it's not. Real life is not easy. You gotta work hard, and it does pay off. You and I both know that. We all know that. It does pay off, and this is probably the hardest thing in life. Think about how much time it took you to work on your career, and you went to university and you studied and you got to figure it out, and then you have to get a job and make those mistakes and those mistakes and those mistakes. So we're willing to do it for our careers and our relationships. Oh, they have to just go like this. Come on. I mean, they got to be just like snap the fingers and it all works.
So the answer is that everything in life has a challenge associated with it, this even more so. And of course, it's difficult. It's not just you and picking who you want to be and what you want to do in the world. It's that in combination with somebody else also saying yes, going, let's make this thing happen. You and me and we and us. Okay. And getting both sides to agree to it. And therefore, of course, it's going to be more difficult. And it is more difficult because that's how we earn it and that's how we choose to keep it. And we're more motivated to make good decisions and the right decisions and to stick by them if we work for it. Is that a good summary?
I would say, and just to add a little bit of hope for you and something to think about, is a peer-reviewed study came out a couple of years ago that said that by the time you're 35, you will have dated 4 people you could have married. And so Aleeza has a system called Mystery in Your History.
Yeah.
And I highly recommend it.
I do. It's one of the courses that we offer. It's only like, I don't know, even $37, something like a nothing thing, meaning like it's not a huge investment of money or time. It really looks back at not just people that you've dated, anybody in your circles who potentially could have been a soulmate, the friend, brother, sister of somebody, a coworker, somebody recommended, but you never even followed up, or they forgot, or somebody that got married and then they got divorced and like, wow, there was somebody that was widowed, and there's just so many different reasons why you could look back at a whole slew of people and figure out who used to exist in your little black book and that you could go repurpose and take forward with you and potentially be a mystery in your history that you can make your future. Yeah. Oh, my heart goes out to you. So I want to give you a blessing that you have enough energy and enough patience to get through the process, to find your soulmate and to build a beautiful life together.
Amen. That's beautiful.